if you wouldn't mind, so that we can post it to the website. We have a brief presentation. It'll take maybe 15 or 20 minutes or so. And we'll hold questions to the end if that's okay, but we're happy to go back to any slide once we get to the question and answer portion of the conversation. Okay, so just a little quick bit here. A lot of these folks are in the room right now. So I mentioned I'm Lydia Housley, serves as our design director. Jeff Alexis, who's the deputy director of engineering and also served as the primary project engineer on this project and project manager, is with us tonight. Audrey Eng, who's a transportation planner on the team and has been a strong go-between our construction management division, who will be picking this up and moving it forward to the construction phase. Norman Parks is our chief engineer. Tan Pham and Kyle Yee will be supporting on this project and really out there with the contractor. So this project has been bid for construction and has been awarded through a competitive process to McKay companies. We have Kyle Lanuto with us on the call today. I'm not sure if Bill is with us as well. I'm sorry, I can't see the participants anymore.
I am, Lydia. I'm right here.
Okay, perfect. Thanks so much for joining us. And we're excited to also just have a chance for folks to be able to ask the contractor some questions as well, as they will be the ones who are actually out there doing the work out on the street and will be kind of your neighbors for a little while. Next slide, please. Perfect. Okay, so yep, as I mentioned, we're going to do a quick project overview or a little refresher on what the project is. We'll talk about a construction timeline, go a little bit into what to expect during construction, and then we'll do a Q&A. I do want to set the stage here that this is the first of what will really be a lot of communications coming from us to you, and also hoping for this to be a two-way street in terms of communication. But we're going to give you a broad level overview of where the schedule is at and what the phasing is likely to look like, with the understanding that significantly more detail will be pushed out via communications across multiple channels throughout the life of the construction process to make sure that folks are informed about what to expect. Next slide. Okay, so quick project overview. For those of you who've been in the neighborhood for a long time, you may not be any stranger to this project. It's been around for quite a while, but it was born out of the Central Artery Project, or the Big Dig, which was, when it was completed, the city then started to take a look at some of the primary streets coming in and out of major neighborhood connections to the Central Artery itself, including Congress Street. Congress Street is actually the last of the streets to be reconstructed. It was part of what was called the Crossroads Initiative, which was this effort born out of the Big Dig and attempt to make the arteries that come in and out of that really transformative project meet the same level of kind of care and give the community the things that they needed for those major neighborhood connections. What started as a project that was focused just on Congress Street was then adapted to include portions of A Street in between Congress and Melcher, and then ultimately Sleeper Street, both of which had a lot of strong community advocacy from Port Point Neighborhood Association, the burgeoning Seaport Neighborhood Association, which has really matured now, and folks who are pressing for a lot of other upgrades for these adjacent streets that were tied directly into Congress Street and they were hoping to see added to the project. And so over time, the scope was expanded to include those streets as well. At its core, this project is a full reconstruction, which means that unlike when we come through and repave a street where you're just kind of scraping off a layer of asphalt and putting it down fresh with new paint, this is a full reconstruction. So from one side of the street, from a building, all the way to the other side of the street to the building, will provide new sidewalks, new accessible pedestrian ramps, curb extensions and curb relocations in various places, new and safer crosswalks, lots of new street trees, over 40 street trees across the project area, new street lighting in the style of the 4 Point neighborhood. It includes some major connections for the city's bike network that runs through here, providing connections from points south, kind of in South Boston and even further south, and then into the Seaport and into downtown. And really has a very strong emphasis on pedestrian accommodations in what is a really dense and pedestrian, high volume pedestrian area. Next slide. Okay, So I'm just going to do a quick walkthrough of what each of the streets contains in a little bit more detail, especially again for those who maybe have not been as involved in this process as recently. So on A Street, the primary objective and the thing that really brought this project to the forefront to be included in the project was the substandard sidewalk widths along A Street today. So I know this image was maybe a little bit small for folks on the screen, but I will emphasize our website, which if somebody wouldn't mind dropping the website link into the chat, you can actually see all these images and zoom them way in and blow up the size and dig into all the details. But there's a dashed line that runs along the sidewalk. Are you? I'm not controlling the screen, so you cannot see my mouse, but a thin dashed blue line that emphasizes where the existing curb lines are. And you can see that there's a pretty significant expansion of the sidewalk on the really on both sides, but especially on the north side of the street in between Congress and Melcher Street. In addition to expanding those sidewalks, the project includes additional Fort-Point fixture streetlights, and it provides a separated space for bike lanes to increase safety for folks who are biking along what has become a pretty popular route for folks heading into downtown and into the seaport. Next slide. On the Sleeper Street side of things, again, so this is in between Seaport Boulevard and Congress Street. After a lot of debate over many, many years, that was actually reinvigorated after there was the death of a 4-year-old child at the corner of Congress and Sleeper Street. A big part of this project includes converting Sleeper Street from a current two-way street to one-way southbound. And the primary reasoning behind this shift is to eliminate a really large number of conflicts that occur at the intersections on either side, in between people who are crossing the street on foot, people who are driving, and people who are biking through. So by making it a one-way street, we nearly cut in half the number of conflicts that folks will experience at all these streets, and in particular, fully eliminate the movement that resulted in the death of Gracie Gancheva. In addition, the Sleeper Street design has a number of raised speed control elements. So for folks who are familiar with the area, which I'm sure many of you are, there are speed humps that were installed in 2024 following that fatal crash. Those will come back in more or less their same configuration. But in addition, there's a new raised crosswalk that provides access to Martin's playground, which you can kind of see along the center of the page there. Widened sidewalks is another big piece of the puzzle on Sleeper Street. So today there's a kind of 3-foot or so ledge on the Children's Museum side of the street that will be expanded out to provide a fully furnished 7-foot sidewalk. So folks pushing strollers or just moving in wheelchairs or strolling luggage won't have to struggle with that. And that will actually be a functional side of the pedestrian network in the future. And on the opposite side of the street, there are also some larger bump outs that help provide additional sidewalk maneuvering space and also some space for new trees to be planted. Finally, as part of the larger bike network connection, this street does also include a contraflow bike lane, which means that just delineated with paint, but bicyclists would be able to ride in a designated space in the opposite direction of travel, providing a more comfortable configuration, especially on what will be a lower volume street in the future with traffic only going one direction for folks, especially trying to make their way over to Seaport Boulevard to head either over the bridge into downtown or to continue further on into the Seaport neighborhood. Next slide. And then finally, Congress Street. Again, major portion of this project has been a focus on making this a really high quality environment for pedestrians. So the sidewalks along Congress Street are widened to varying degrees between 10 feet and 17 and a half feet, depending on where you are along the corridor, but creating some really generous sidewalk spaces that not only create a more accessible space and the ability for you to kind of just walk alongside if you're walking with a group, but also will formalize spaces for outdoor dining that today take place in the street. The project, again, along Congress Street includes upgraded street furnishings that are in tune with the historic character of the street and over 40 street trees on Congress Street. There are curb extensions at the crosswalks to help make the pedestrian crossings significantly shorter than they are today, a reduction between 10 to 20 feet at the pedestrian crossings, so a much shorter distance to get across Congress Street than today. Fully constructed protected bike lanes are also included along Congress Street. So they're separated with a constructed brick strip and granite curb. They are at street level, so there is a decent bit of separation between pedestrians and bicyclists along this stretch. There are still, obviously, vehicle travel lanes with, importantly, turn lanes at some of the key intersections to help make sure that traffic is still flowing efficiently. And then there are also some pockets of parking for both short-term kind of folks who are going to restaurants or maybe doing a quick pickup or drop-off, and loading west of A Street. Next slide. A relatively new addition to the project based on a lot of the conversations that we had toward the earlier portions of last year was Melcher Street. So as part of the conversations as we were closing out the design discussions last year, I'm sure many of you were there. There were questions about how to offset some of the parking loss that was happening on A Street in order to make the sidewalk expansion happen. And while it's not super common that we are able to find in the city of Boston a place where we can make new parking appear for really no trade-off, we actually do have such an opportunity on Melcher Street, where today there is this, you can see in the top picture on the right, a series of loading bays that are no longer in use. But because the curb was never built out there, there's no formalized parking. So we've actually gone ahead and undertaken a process to talk with these property owners, ensure that we are able to close these loading bays with them. We've gotten survey and completed the design work, and we'll also tack on the reconstruction of this portion of Melcher Street sidewalk on the north side to be able to provide both an accessible sidewalk and a fully built curb so that pedestrians are more protected. But also, as a result of that, we're able to bring online an additional 10 to 12 parking spaces that can be used by residents and to help offset some of that loss. Next slide. Perfect. Okay, with this, I'm going to pass it over to Audrey, who's going to walk through the construction phasing a bit. And then she'll also talk a little bit about how to keep up to date with what's going on with construction, and then we'll have plenty of time for questions and answers. So take it away, Audrey.
Thanks, Lydia. Hi, everyone. We are so excited to be starting construction this spring and ultimately to deliver this incredible project to you all. And in the meantime, our goal is to keep you informed and do our best to minimize the amount of disruption during the construction period. So for the purposes of talking about the construction schedule at this point in time, which is fairly early leading up to the start of the season, we've grouped the breadth of construction work over the next 2 years into 3 more general categories, just to make this conversation a little bit more digestible. So the first of those categories is pre-construction activities. This will include digging utility test pits, laying new conduit, and relocating drainage infrastructure. We've actually already begun some of these pre-construction activities, which you probably saw starting last week on Sleeper Street. And once this snow clears out, hopefully, fingers crossed soon, we'll be doing the same on Congress and then A Street continuing through the winter. This is a huge advantage for us because the pre-construction activities aren't temperature sensitive, so it gives us a little bit of a head start so that when the full season starts around mid-April, we can actually hit the ground running with the next phase, which is reconstruction work. The reconstruction work is by far what will take up the most time throughout the construction period and will be the most intensive work that you see. So that will include milling, full depth excavation, setting new curb and pouring the new sidewalks, temporary and final paving, and striping. And then finally, we have the finishes, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's just those final details and final touches, which might include striping, landscaping, lighting, and furnishes. And I'll say that as we approach any of these distinct categories of work for any of the streets in the project area, McKay, our contractors, will develop a construction management plan and a traffic management plan, which we will approve And at that point, we'll have much more detail on what's to come that we will make sure it gets communicated out to all of you. Next slide. Before we dive into some of the details of this schedule, I just want to say that we are in very good hands with McKay, who's our contractor selected for this work. Not only are they familiar with the neighborhood, they've done some work with the Children's Museum and Martins Park, but they have already been just so thoughtful in developing this schedule early on, especially considering that there are a number of really complicated coordination hurdles that we've been working with them on. So some of those being the Children's Museum's resiliency project, which includes waterproofing below ground and above ground on their facade. And that's especially complicated with their facade work on Sleeper Street, which directly abuts our work on Sleeper Street. They've also been able to shape the schedule in a way that accommodates the enormous amount of events that are coming up for us this summer, including FIFA and Sail Boston. And then finally, we're really excited and proud that we can sort of accommodates the community's ask that Sleeper Street safety improvements are implemented as soon as possible. So those will go into place during this coming construction season, which we're really thrilled about. So looking here at the schedule in front of us, you can see that the pre-construction activities shown in yellow on all three streets, A Street, Sleeper Street, and Conger Street, will be ongoing throughout the winter. Everything on this schedule, of course, is subject to change due to weather, but particularly those pre-construction activities, as you can see, based on the snow outside. When the ground thaws, usually around mid-April and the construction season begins, we're going to get started on A Street and Melcher Street simultaneously. Melcher Street is much smaller in scope, so we want to start there so that those additional parking spaces can be freed up as early as possible. A Street also is a more minimal scope, and so starting there we're aiming to have A Street substantially completed by Memorial Day at the end of May, because starting May 29th, we have what we're calling the major events blackout period. So running from May 29th through July 20th will encompass most of those major events this summer. Like I said, the FIFA games and the fan marches and Sail Boston, which are just going to bring a huge influx of pedestrians and visitors to the area. So during this time, McKay is actually going to demobilize and clear out of the area entirely so that there's not any conflict with an active construction zone. And this will also let the businesses in the area really take advantage of this influx of visitors. So namely allowing outdoor dining to stay in place for restaurants that have it. When we start back up on July 20th, we will be doing the reconstruction on Sleeper Street, and that will continue through the remainder of the 2026 construction season, so through about mid-November. In that block of time shown for this Sleeper Street reconstruction, this also encompasses the Boston Children's Museum's work on Sleeper Street. So some of that will sort of be trading off, and some of that will happen simultaneously. And then Conger Street, which is the most intensive work that will happen, we have the entirety of the 2027 construction season reserved for that. Next slide. Some basic details on what to expect for during construction. Our working hours will depend on what we get approved in our permit, but they generally will be 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. We're really aiming to avoid both rush hour periods there. Our working days are Monday through Friday, and we do have Saturdays reserved for the possibility of work. Right now, we are assuming that we will take more advantage of Saturdays leading up to that major events blackout period at the end of May, so we can ensure that we really hit that milestone. In terms of accessibility, access to all residences and businesses will always be ensured throughout construction. And with this area being so high volume with pedestrians, we we'll ensure, and we have discussed with McKay, that there will be a particular emphasis on pedestrian accessibility throughout construction as well. And finally, any parking restrictions will be posted a minimum of 48 hours in advance. So please do take note of any signs that are posted on the street, but we will make sure that through our channels of communication, we will let folks know about upcoming parking restrictions as far in advance as we can. Next slide. There are a number of ways to stay updated with the project and happenings. Everything is on our project website there, so that's a really excellent resource for you all. You can find our final designs. We'll post construction updates. We'll have a common questions document, which will go into more detail on questions similar to that last slide. I would say most importantly, through the website, you can sign up for our project newsletter. This is going to be sent out bi-weekly and would go directly to your inbox when you sign up, but they also will be posted on the project website. These new newsletters will recap work that's been completed since the last newsletter and then give you a 2-week look ahead and include any general updates and announcements. And this is really going to be the best way for you to stay informed and have the most detail and up-to-date information. So we really do highly recommend that you sign up for that. There is a project-specific email, which is written here, which you are welcome to use if you have any specific questions or comments for us. And this goes directly to a number of our project team members. And then finally, periodically, we will attend the Seaport and Fort Point Neighborhood Association meetings to give a general update and field any questions. Next slide. Great. Thank you all. And we are happy to open it up if folks have some questions for us.
Carl, please feel free to unmute and ask your question.
Great. Thanks, Lydia and Audrey. That was a great presentation. I get it. I'm Carl Neubauer. I'm a board member at the FP3 condominium building at 346 Congress. And I had a couple of questions and wanted to ask, would you jump to the Congress Street slide for a moment?
Yep, let's just pull that back up for a minute.
Well, I'll tell you what, while you do that, let me ask a question that doesn't involve the slide. So this at the entrance to our building, there's a kind of a stone inset in the sidewalk. Is that going to be protected and preserved over the course of the project?
I'm sorry, can you say where again?
It's at the entrance to the building. It's like a welcome mat, to the building. And in addition, the retail entrances and the storefronts are lined with sort of an 18-inch strip of like porcelain tile that butts right into back a sidewalk. And I'm just wondering if that's all going to be preserved over the course of the project, if, no way, no how, it's going to be wrecked. And if that's the case, if it's going to be restored by the project.
Jeff, could I toss this one over to you?
Yes, sure. I'm trying to get an understanding of the location that you're specifically talking about, because
Sure. So the FP3 building is adjacent to the Fire Department Museum, and it pretty much spans the block between Farnsworth Street and Thompson Place.
Okay. All right. So in regards to the specialty, pavers or granite stones that you have in front of the building, those will be maintained.
Okay.
So those, like, I think those are like just treatments that were specific to each of the buildings along Congress Street. I think a number of the property owners had this aesthetic installed in front of their buildings. Those will remain.
Great.
That being said, the sidewalk adjacent to it will be replaced with concrete sidewalks.
Okay. Thank you. It's hard to tell at this scale, but if you look at, can you zoom into the block between Farnsworth and Thompson Place? You may lose.
I
If
can't.
not, that's fine.
in This. I'm
So you see
sorry.
you see the fire museum, and to
Yes.
the right of that, where it says Congress Street, is the FP3 building.
Yep.
There's a break in the kind of ground plane where the brick is, and kind of creating a break in the trees. Your cursor's right about there.
Yep, I see what you're talking about.
Is that aligned with the front door of our building? Is that the design intent, or where is that break?
So here, where the crosswalk is, you mean?
No.
Oh, you mean further over here?
Yes, no, to right in there. Like, it seems like that should be aligned with the front, the front door of our building, which is the most prominent entrance on the block. It doesn't quite show, like, it's hard to tell on the drawing because of the kind of weird perspective of the image in the background, but I'm just wondering, can we get more information on where that's located?
Jeff, you're muted.
Yes, so that break, I'm understanding like that is the location of the granite pavers slash
Oh, cool.
stones
Great.
that you were referring to. So like
Awesome. Thank you.
on the actual design plans, it's marked off as, and there's an LMI that's with our PIC Public Improvement Commission for this.
Oh, hold on. So many acronyms. Okay.
Yes.
So
I get it. No, I understand the acronyms.
Yeah.
okay, well, for anybody who doesn't, just for specialty pavers and that kind of thing that are implemented within the city streets, we require what's called a license maintenance and indemnification agreement that is held by whoever is going to maintain that thing. So in this case, if that is called out, that means that there's an agreement already in place for someone to maintain that specialty piece of material, which is just an important piece for us because as the owners and operators and maintainers have over 800 miles of street. We have to be able to do things with a kind of set of standards. And it's not to say that we don't love to have things done with specialty treatments. And in this case, there are folks who have stepped up to help do that. So this is one of those cases.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank
Doing
you.
a little education.
And I don't want to hog the meeting, but I had one more question. Can I get one more?
Yeah, before you ask, so I mean, we did take a look at these pavers. There were conversations about, how to effectively work around them. Our contractors, of course, they can work around them. However, if the intent is to, improve on what's being provided or the space of this area, so like make sure that's compliant, making sure that it complements. Yeah, exactly. So like because like we're not telling our contractors to touch this area. If property owners want to remove their granite pavers because they don't want to be damaged during construction or what have you, you're more than welcome to coordinate with the contractors to say, hey, whenever you guys get to this area within the sidewalk, we'll look at either protecting our pavers, removing them, and kind of replacing them when you guys are completed. If you want to work something out with the contractor, that may be an option as well. But we're trying to stay away from them because we don't want to damage them. Yeah, exactly.
If everyone will just indulge me for one more question. The block to the left of us between Sleeper Street and Farnsworth has a couple of buildings where the roof drain leaders splash onto the sidewalk. They don't terminate in some kind of underground connection. They just splash on the sidewalk and they freeze, make a freezing condition, make a dangerous situation. And I've seen people fall there. I've reported to Boston 311 before. I'm wondering, will part of this project involve, properly terminating them such that the water doesn't splash on the sidewalk anymore?
Jeff, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but our project does not include any modifications to any private buildings.
Okay. Great.
Yes,
that's too bad, but thank you.
Understood. Yes. Jen, sorry, Carl, thanks for your questions. Jen, you're up.
Awesome. Thank you. I work in the Seaport and I cycle on my bike through this area, getting to and from work 4 days a week. So I'm very interested in the new bike lanes here. Specifically for Sleeper Street, I'm interested in coming, I guess that's like going to the left here, I guess kind of southbound-ish. There's no bike lane, and I'm wondering how wide that car lane is there, because one of my biggest issues as a cyclist is getting out of the seaport in the afternoon, and I go this way and there's not enough. And for people who drive in the seaport, a lot of people know that in the evening time it gets like gridlocked where there's just cars just stopped. And as a cyclist, I'm just curious if there's going to be space there. I know there's no bike lane, but how much space is there going to be for me to get past these cars? I don't want to be stuck in this traffic coming down that road.
Yeah, we don't have a dimension on here, and I don't recall the precise width off the top of my head, but I am guessing that we're somewhere around a 12-foot travel lane.
I have it
Okay.
right here.
Oh, go for it, Jeff.
Yes, Jen, you're lucky. We're proposing a bike lane on Sleeper Street. So, as part of the one-way design, we did have to allocate or reallocate space within the roadway. We didn't want to maintain just a very wide travel lane, because then of course that you mean provides opportunities for speeding outside of the speed humps and the various crosses that we're gonna have along the corridor. However, for the bike lane that we're proposing, I'm getting to the point. It will be 6.5 feet wide. That's what we're looking at for the bike lane. It's adjacent to parking. The parking is 8 feet wide, so that it is a bit wider than our standard 7-foot parking lanes. And I think we're looking at 11.5 for the roadway. So like there's gonna be plenty of space for vehicles along Sleeper Street. For parking, you have 8 feet. Granted, we know cars are generally around 6 feet, so you may have a little bit of space. To kind of prevent the dooring that tends to happen when vehicles are coming out. But it is across a contra flow bike lane, so there'll be more visibility in terms of vehicles being in, or passengers being in vehicles when you're riding up Sleeper Street. So in terms of how cycling along Sleeper Street will function, it will be a better facility for cyclists moving forward.
Yeah,
just
I'm talking more about going the opposite
direction. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I personally take Thompson Street's right next to it, and that's a one-way road already and is usually pretty empty. So I take that going the other way. So I'm more concerned about getting back, I guess, to the
Yeah.
left here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So 11.5 feet wide. It is wide for a travel lane. But in terms of, being a cyclist, you still have to be safe.
Okay. Yeah, I would love in the future if Thompson Place was made two-way for bikes in the future. I'm just putting that out there. There's really no great way. There's no dedicated bike lane going that direction, unfortunately, over here. So,
Yes, Thompson unfortunately is not a city-owned street.
okay.
Okay, Orion? Or Martin?
Oh, hey guys, this is I'm
Hi.
actually impersonating Orion. This is Paul Asmar. I'm using Orion's link here today, so I
Okay.
apologize, but thanks. I actually didn't realize that till I got on. I said, "Oh, I'm Orion today," but thanks for doing this meeting. And I know I've spoken to a couple of you before. So I represent the ownership at 51 Sleeper Street, so right next to the Church of Good Voyage and
Yeah.
that first building. Shameless plug, we got a great coffee shop in there now, if anybody hasn't been there. It's awesome, Little Wolf. So firstly, great project. It's ambitious, and I know you guys know you got a lot to figure out here. And I was actually standing out front there today, and the traffic, basically goes up to where that Seaport Boulevard is there on the bridge trying to get over. So it'll be very interesting. I just wanted to confirm, and I know you're early, haven't done a construction schedule yet. I'm sure that I don't know the McKay guys, but I've heard of them. So I have 2 loading docks that are constantly used Monday through Friday for my tenants. You do have it, right there in the plan. I don't know, Jeff, if you're running it, but to the right of that
Yep.
first crosswalk there. And I guess I just want to make sure
here,
we'll
sorry.
have access there because that's, I know
Yes.
it's a tough one, but I know the McKay guys do a lot of good work. So I just want to make sure I bring that up as a, not a concern, but just want to make sure that those docks will be available. They're pretty constantly used Monday through Friday, Monday through Thursday, maybe not as much on Friday, but pretty regularly.
Yep, got it, thanks. Yes, so access to driveways like this will be maintained. I'm sure that there will be occasional disruptions, but in general, access to all businesses and all residences will always be preserved. Kyle or Bill, is there anything you'd like to add to that?
Sorry. No, I'm well aware of them. When we were building Martins Park, I do know which
Yeah.
one you're talking about.
Yeah, you guys did a great job over there. Yeah, we do some work with them too, as volunteer work, so that's great. And again, we'll definitely work with you guys. Whatever you need, if there's a time you need to lock them down, we just I just need notice so I can let vendors and tenants know. But that's just my one item there. That just want to make sure we can keep those available. And if they can't be, I just need to know well in advance.
If you wouldn't
Awesome.
mind, either if you want to do it in a direct, so Audrey, I'm not sure if you've had a chance to talk with Audrey directly, who's doing some door-to-door flyering on Sleeper Street recently. So
No.
it would be great to just grab a contact info for you directly if we're able to do that. So Audrey, if you can maybe send a direct message via Zoom or something like that to grab contact info, that'd be great. Cool, thank you. Norm.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Lydia, how are you?
Good to see
Just want to ask one thing. So following up on Jen's point, the bike lane on Sleeper is two-way, correct?
So there is the bike lane, sorry, are you able to see my cursor?
Yes.
Okay, so there's a dashed yellow line,
Yes.
right? That is for bicyclists who are going contraflow or against the
Yes.
direction of vehicle traffic.
Okay.
But people on bikes can still bike with traffic in the other direction. So that's why you see these sharrows indicated here, is just to say bikes can also just use this general traffic space. But it's not a separated facility for folks in that direction.
I see. I thought
Yeah.
originally, the plan had been for a double bike lane to
No.
provide transportation in both directions. So, okay.
So you can maneuver both directions, but it's just painted and designated in the direction that is counter to vehicular travel.
Just want to
Yeah.
understand that. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And number two, and this is just, I just want to say thank you. The presentation was great. The newsletter access is terrific. The transparency that you and Audrey and Jeffrey have provided should be a model for everything we do within the city. And so thank you. Lastly, you raised the point of a great benefit is the danger reduced on the Sleeper Congress intersection. I just want to reiterate what you and I have talked about before. We in the Seaport think this is a real benefit to the Sleeper Seaport intersection because as it stands today, people are coming out of Sleeper Street, turning left onto the bridge, as are people coming across Seaport on the northern side of Sleeper Street, turning right onto the bridge, and pedestrians cross at the same time. It's a really dangerous situation. It's a really long crosswalk. So anything we do to reduce congestion there and reduce traffic flow for those pedestrians crossing that street is a great benefit. So this will really be a plus for more ways than you actually said. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you. We really appreciate your kind words. And also just shout out to you and many others, but for your continued partnership on this project. And yes, thank you for pointing out that additional safety benefit that I failed to mention.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody have any additional questions that we can answer for you tonight? And again, I'll actually go to the slide that has just here, our website. Newsletter sign up is on the website. You can get in touch with us at congressfortpoint@boston.gov. The newsletter, as Audrey mentioned, is going to be sent out every 2 weeks. And so it's going to be a great space for you to be hearing about what's been done and what's coming up next. Our friend from 51 Sleeper Street, is your hand up for a second question, or was this from last time?
Sorry, technology challenged. I never put it down. Sorry about that.
Totally understand it. All been there. Okay. Well, if there are no other questions, I think we can close this up. This presentation will be posted to our website. We'll also put the recording up on the website as well, so folks can check it out. For those of you who had some of the detailed questions about the plan drawings, I do recommend you check out the website. You can also zoom in and go to town on all of the fine details of the plans that we showed here today in all of their glory. So with that, I just want to thank you all for spending a little time with, oh, Charlie. Take it away.
Hey, Lydia, sorry, thank you for taking my question at the end here, and apologies. Just coming from my kids and may have missed this, but just wanted to check in. I know you mentioned in a meeting with us earlier this week about a gain of some parking spots on Melcher Street. Did we know how
Yes.
many spots that is exactly?
Yeah, so there won't be marked spaces, but roughly 10 to 12, depending on how well people park.
No, I understood. Thank you. And between the changes on Congress and then this addition on Melcher, is there an analysis on how many net spots gained or lost due to the project?
Yes, but I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but we've gotten this question a few times. So Audrey, if maybe we can just incorporate this into some of the commonly asked questions. And Charlie, if you want to send us a follow-up note at the project email, we can get in touch with you directly, or drop your info and we can get in touch with you via email.
Okay, yeah, and it can come to the council also at ed.flynn@boston.gov.
Okay, good. Yeah, sorry. Yes.
No worries. Thank you.
Thank you. I didn't put 2 and 2 together on which Charlie I was talking to. Sorry.
No worries. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks to Councilor Flynn's office for being here. Okay. Any other final questions for folks? Okay. All right, in that case, I will thank you all for spending a little time with us on this, it's Wednesday evening. And hope you all have a safe and happy rest of your evening. We'll talk to you soon.